The morning sun cast its golden light over the rolling hills as the group trudged along the Triboard Trail, making their way toward Phandalin. Spirits were high after their success at Wyvern Tor, but that sense of ease didn't last long. At some point during their travels, Sariel vanished. It wasn't dramatic. There was no sign of struggle, no footprints leading into the woods. One moment, he was walking at the rear of the group, and the next, he was simply gone. Tayvin, Aluin, and Rowan exchanged glances, but ultimately agreed that Sariel, ever the unpredictable one, had likely gone off on his own again. He had done so before, and though concerning, they knew he had the means to take care of himself. With no immediate leads on his whereabouts, the group pressed forward, continuing their journey down the Triboard Trail until evening fell. As dusk settled, the three set up camp along the roadside. The flames of their small campfire flickered against the darkening sky as they gathered around to rest and talk. The conversation drifted towards Zahir, the necromancer, and the morality of their recent dealings with him. At first, all three had been wary. Necromancers carried dark reputations, and Zahir certainly had his own unsettling presence. But was he truly as bad as they had feared? Aluin admitted that, despite her initial concerns, he had been nothing but fair in his dealings with them, offering aid and rewards without deceit. Rowan was more cautious, but he acknowledged that, so far, Zahir had proven useful. Then, Rowan posed a question, his voice quiet, thoughtful. Is there peace to be found after life? Tayvin considered this for a long moment. Unlike Rowan, he had no faith in the gods or their promises of an afterlife. I don't know, he admitted, but nothingness can be a form of peace, too. Rowan nodded slowly. Perhaps you're right. Even the universe must end someday, and in that nothingness there is no more struggle. The flickering firelight reflected in Rowan's eyes, and for a moment he was somewhere else. Flashes of memory, his home, burning, his people, fleeing, the screams of those who could not escape. Rowan clenched his jaw and forced himself back to the present. Aluin, sensing his thoughts, gently asked about his past, his order, the teachings he had once followed. Rowan hesitated. I don't even remember, he admitted. It's been so long. My family never spoke of our old ways after we fled. I remember the pain of losing our home, but the rest, it's all faded. Tayvin understood that loss all too well. His own village had turned against him, against his mother, blaming them for calamity, branding them as consorts of demons. Tayvin had never known his father, never known why he was what he was. Rowan turned to him and said firmly, "The world is better for having you in it." Tayvin gave a small, rare smile but said nothing. Instead, he turned the conversation toward Aluin. How did you meet Everin? Aluin's face softened, a rare warmth in her expression. Through a matchmaker. She explained that they had been born in the same village but had never crossed paths until a matchmaker brought them together. It was a tradition among their people, one guided by hand readings, astrology, and fate. They had been perfectly matched. It was fate. Tayvin arched a brow. Interesting that you would leave such an important matter to fate and have it work out anyway. Aluin only smiled. The conversation lingered late into the night, and soon the group turned in, resting beneath the watchful stars. The next morning, they resumed their journey toward Phandalin. Rowan, leading the group, was the first to spot movement on the road ahead. At a distance, a band of 6 humanoids marched toward them. Tayvin, ever the scout, silently slipped into the trees, moving with trained precision to get a closer look. Peering through the underbrush, he recognized the creatures immediately. Hobgoblins, 6 of them, armed and well-armored. He returned to the group and quickly relayed what he saw. The party decided to hide in the forest, hoping to let the hobgoblins pass unnoticed. Unfortunately, stealth was not Rowan's strong suit. As he shifted into the trees, a branch snapped beneath his weight. The lead hobgoblin's head snapped toward their position. I think I saw something. Looked kinda like a big lizard. The hobgoblins quickened their pace up the road. When they reached the bend, they fanned out in a search pattern, scanning the trees carefully. Aluin, Tayvin, and Rowan exchanged uncertain glances. There was no avoiding them now. With a steadying breath, Rowan stepped forward, hands raised in peace. Aluin and Tayvin followed. We mean no trouble, Rowan said evenly. There's no need for a fight. For a moment it seemed as if the hobgoblins might listen. Then, Boss! It's her! The words rang out like a death knell. The hobgoblins' expressions darkened instantly. "You," one of them snarled at Aluin. "You're coming with us." Tavin quickly interjected, offering to go with them peacefully all together, but the hobgoblins weren't fooled. Their hands went to their weapons. Chaos erupted. Tavin launched into the air, wings unfurling. The hobgoblins charged forward, swords swinging, one at Rowan, one at Aluin. Both barely dodged in time, evading the razor-sharp steel. Rowan and Aluin made a split-second decision. They ran. Into the trees, weaving through the undergrowth, breaking for open ground beyond. 3 hobgoblins pursued them, while the other 3 drew longbows, arrows flying through the air. The group soon realized that the hobgoblins were split up. They turned. They stood their ground. Tavin descended from the sky like a storm, striking down one hobgoblin instantly. An arrow pierced Aluin's side, sending her crumbling to the ground. Rowan and Tavin fought fiercely, cutting down the remaining 2 before reviving Aluin. Then, with their enemy's forces weakened, they charged the remaining archers. Aluin's moonbeam rained radiant energy upon them. Rowan deflected arrows with his shield. Tavin, with near-supernatural reflexes, caught and deflected projectiles mid-air. The archers fell quickly. One was knocked unconscious, another begged for mercy. The hobgoblin, terrified, agreed to talk. His name was Tonka. His unconscious comrade was Zog. They served King Groll. And yes, a dwarf was being held at Cragmore Castle. Tavin knew immediately. It had to be Gundren. The group demanded that Tonka lead them to the castle. He agreed, on the condition that they let him and Zog go afterward. Reluctantly, the group accepted. By the end of the day, they reached Phandalin, where they sought out Darren Edamarth and Rumshow. Darren was happy to see them, but when asked about the shards Zahir sought, he hesitated. "Shards?" He muttered the word, as if trying to recall something. Then, after a pause, he shook his head. "No, I don't know anything about them." Tavin watched him closely. Darren was hiding something, but at the same time, he wasn't lying. Darren agreed to hold their prisoners in his closet while they tended to other matters. The group visited Sister Garael, delivering Bogenthal's spellbook. She was stunned. "Agatha, let you take it?" She admitted that she had once tried to retrieve the book herself, but Agatha had nearly killed her for the attempt. After explaining Agatha's tragic history, she examined the book, only to find its pages blank. Still, she was grateful, rewarding them with healing potions before promising to deliver the book to higher-ranking Harpers. With that, the group retrieved their prisoners and set off once more. Their next destination, Thundertree.